Well, you want to hear a quick Torrey Holt story?
Let's hear it, because I actually just texted with Torrey. I feel awful that he's not in, but
okay. Well, we're playing at North Carolina State in 1997,
right,
and we were in a rebuilding year. And I'm standing there on the sidelines, and midway through the second half, we kind of had the game a little bit under control, and they threw a little kind of way back in the day. This was unique. They kind of threw Torrey a little bubble screen type throw, which back in the day that was not normal. But they throw this guy the ball, and I was aware of Torrey just from the scouting report. And he just runs through our defense. It took him about 45 minutes to score because we missed him. Every player on my defense missed him twice. Couldn't get him on the ground. And he ran like 9,000 yards for a touchdown. And basically that won the game. And all the way home from that bus ride, I'm going, why couldn't we tackle that guy? And then, of course, 20 years later, I'm saying that's why he's an NFL Hall of Fame, one of the best receivers in the world. So there's my Torrey Holt little story for you.
He's amazing. What a great player. I love him as a person too. So one day he's going to he will get the call one day. All right. I use so many Loganisms during the course of, I always do. And I always say, my friend Steve Logan always says ...
Okay.
So this is one of the reasons I really wanted to talk with you about this, is that Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coordinators, maybe in NFL history. I don't know, but certainly maybe the best going today. And when he looks at the Philadelphia Eagles, I would have to think that he is not going to want to allow Saquon Barkley to have his day, that he's going to make the Eagles beat them, as you like to say, left-handed. How easy, it's not easy. How do they go about taking Barkley out of the equation?
Well, on my radio show last night, on my final show of the season, this exact question came up from a caller, and we talked about, the number one job of a defense is to make them beat you left-handed. So if you just start with the idea that, okay, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, the basics, the bedrock, the install day number one was a zone read type idea. If you've got to choose your poison. And I promise you that Steve Spagnuolo decided early on that, okay, here's the deal. We're going to make Jalen Hurts beat us with his feet, okay? Or we're going to make Jalen Hurts beat us in the pocket. And we all know that in the pocket, Jalen Hurts is okay.
Yeah.
Not great. But this is where it's going to go. And, the whole idea is if there's any kind of a zone read mechanism that begins to unfold, they're going to have 95 guys tackle Saquon Barkley,
right,
and they're going to let the safety, what you call fill the alley, to handle Jalen Hurts. And if he makes 8 or 9 yards, good for him. But we're not going to let Saquon Barkley have an explosion play on a zone read type idea.
Yeah, it's funny. If you were playing, I'll just use the same, if you were using it against the Ravens, would you not hit Lamar every play? And as opposed, it would be flipped, right? You would go after Lamar first and then try to deal with Derrick Henry, right?
100%. That's the choose your poison situation that you're in with all good football teams. And, because they've got multiple threats, but you just got to decide, you're not going to stop. If you try to stop them all, you're something bad's going to happen.
Right.
A lot. Okay. So I made this analogy, growing up in the wishbone era and coaching the wishbone, running the wishbone, defending the wishbone, it became a common theme for all defensive coordinators. Okay, we're getting ready to play a wishbone football team. Where do we start? And the number one agreement, and this holds water, this is true. You cannot let the fullback beat you.
Right.
You can't line up against the wishbone and just let them run. You can't have a fullback ripping off 20 and 30-yard gains through the heart of your defense. You have to stop the fullback first. Once that's done, it provides definition for the rest of the defense to tackle the quarterback and tackle the pitchback and blah, blah, blah. So we're just talking about a zone read. So this same idea that's what's going to happen. They're going to stop Saquon Barkley and make them find other ways to win the game.
All right, so, and this is why I really like A.J. Brown to have a big game here. They've got two great wide receivers. Brown and Devontae Smith are both great. Brown is more of their big play guy, even though Smith is as fast as you're going to find in the league. But Brown is their main target, and Dallas Goedert is a great tight end. Is Kansas City equipped to not only force Saquon Barkley to not beat them, but are they also going to be able to handle A.J. Brown and or Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert?
Well, all of that entire premise that you just laid out to my coach's brain said this. Yes, the Chiefs will be able to handle all of those problems you just presented if the Chiefs win first down. Okay, if you get Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts into second and long, 3rd and 6+, this will be a win for the Kansas City Chiefs defense because of what we started our conversation with. I'm not really worried about Saquon now. We've made Jalen Hurts be, operating in the pocket, or at the very least, he's going to have to, scramble and do all the things that,
right,
he can do with his feet, but we're not deadly afraid. On the list of things that we're worried about, Jalen Hurts in the pocket, we'll take that. Okay, we'll take that. But in order to get there, you got to win first down.
Steve Logan's show, by the way, Thursday nights, right? 94.3 the game in Greenville, right?
Yes,
5 to 7.
My last show was last night.
Why?
Once football season is over, I know nothing.
Right, but we could have a wrap-up on the Super Bowl. Thursday, we have a wrap-up on it.
Well, let me tell you something. You can go on Spotify or YouTube and get my show, and if you wanted to go, not last night, but the Thursday before,
right?
I did a down in the weeds, so far down in the weeds that I'm sure many of the listeners turned the radio off because I took every numerical category known to man. I just did my coach's thing. And I broke these two football teams down, and it was kind of amazing, the numbers. It is razor thin on about 15 categories. And it's just amazing. Now, I'm going to give you the final rabbit hole that I went down, Adam. You
right.
Want to hear this?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Buckle up. Now you got to pay attention. Ready?
I don't buckle. I'm old school.
Okay, here we go. Since 2001, there have been 125 drives in the NFL postseason with under a minute to play, and the team on offense trails by 7 or less.
Right.
So you got that, right?
Yes.
The success rate in those situations is 40% of the time the offense will win.
Wow.
All right.
That's good.
Well, that brings up the question. Well, let's talk about these quarterbacks since 2001 to 2023. Well, there's this guy named Tom Brady. He had 11 opportunities. He was successful 5 times.
5 of 11. Wow. That's
okay. Right at that 40% mark,
yeah,
right?
Let's shade over.
Well, this Drew Brees guy comes along. He only had 6 opportunities, but he was 3 for 6.
Okay.
All right. Then there's this Peyton Manning guy. He had 16 opportunities, and he was successful 6 times.
Okay.
For a grand total of about 37%.
Yep.
Then, suddenly, I looked up this Patrick Mahomes guy. He's had 7 opportunities, and he is 7 for 7. So the question here, and this whole thing on my show kind of centered around who do you want to pick? And when I came to this final coup de grace statistic that I just threw out at you, here's what I would say to the gamblers. You've got 2 points of view now. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't ever bet against Patrick Mahomes. That holds water. He's 7 for 7,
right.
which is unheard of. The norm is 40% success. He's 100%. Okay? But the second question is, has Patrick Mahomes run up against the wall? And surely to God, he's going to fail at some point.
Yeah.
So do you never bet against Patrick Mahomes, or bet against Patrick Mahomes because the law of averages says he's going to fail?
Yeah. I don't think there's a law of averages, but I understand. Well, I understand it's going to happen some point. You're right.
Yep. But it really, I went down that rabbit hole, and then I was plugging all these names and quarterbacks and numbers, and then, so I said, okay, let's see what Mahomes is doing here. And it's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
7 for 7, and you're talking, Peyton Manning at 37%, Tom Brady at 40%, and the closest thing to it was Drew Brees at 50%.
Gosh.
So this Patrick Mahomes guy is a problem.
All right, real quick about this. How obviously it's Patrick Mahomes, but as a coach and as a offensive mind, what do you say about how good Andy Reid is?
Well, this also came up on my show, and I made this comment, and I thoroughly believe it. Bill Walsh revolutionized football, and Andy Reid was raised in the West Coast system, just like our entire generation. My generation was raised on those principles. And what Andy Reid has done by taking those principles and then incorporating the collegiate bubble screen, tunnel screens, all the creativity where he has assistants that go back and look at 1920 Notre Dame wing tees and single wings, and he's using principles that are long forgotten, and he's activating them again. And it's he is without a doubt the finest offensive mind in the game today. I'll finish with this. When I went into the XFL down in Birmingham, I had 6 months to prepare for that, and I did a deep dive investigation into the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid's offense, and Sean McVay's offense with the Los Angeles Rams. Because Rams had just won the Super Bowl, so I wanted to see what they were doing. And as I dove into the Kansas City Chiefs, what they're doing, there is no way that I could have gotten that taught to, in AAA football. I just couldn't have gotten it taught. I understood everything they were doing, but the complexity and the diversity that Andy Reid has achieved is unlike anything that anybody's ever dealt with. And that's one of the reasons they almost win every game, plus the fact they've got God's gift quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. It's an incredible marriage.
You are amazing. Steve Logan, former East Carolina head coach. When the football season begins, I kind of think it's always football season. But 94.3 The Game Thursdays, 5 to 7, if I am not mistaken. Thank you very much. At Steve Logan Show on Twitter. I don't even know if you're really active there anymore or not.
I am. I have to be. It's the only thing. I don't know email. I don't know FaceTime, Facebook, Insta shoots, Grams, but I know Twitter.
Good
and
for
I
you.
do a little. I do Twitter. That's all I do.
You're the best. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank you, Steve Logan here on the Adam Culture. He makes me laugh as easily as anybody we ever have on the show. He is the best.
Yeah.
The absolute best.
Seems down to earth.
He is. I have Logan stories.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Steve came up to our little ranch in Oxford, Canada, USA.
Right.
And because there's a pond behind our house, and he went fishing in our pond. No, seriously.
Yeah.
He gets in a tube.
Yeah.
And he floats out to the middle. Seriously, floats out to the middle, and he's in this big tube where he's just standing in it.
Yeah. Fishing. And then he comes back, and he said, like, you could have a fish fry forever here. Really?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot
What kind of fish are in your pond?
I don't know.
I was going to say, I think there's little ones in the stream behind my house, but I don't know if I'd
we have
venture out
salmon,
there,
the
right?
Granville County salmon.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Yes.
All right.